Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay Will. So finally I'm getting my opportunity to do the after the hype video for the BlackBerry Passport Silver Edition. Now I've been using this phone I guess every day since I got my replacement. The first one that I got, everybody was kind of wondering, hey Jay, well, I posted a video saying, hey, it crashed. I tried all the updates and everything for that BlackBerry, but it just didn't work. Something was wrong with the BlackBerry itself. But now I've been using my replacement. I've got my replacement a while back, and I didn't really want to put a video up saying, hey, I got a replacement. But I'm going to tell you about this phone as it stands in today's market, because remember, this phone isn't brand new. It's not, I would love to see a new edition of the Passport. Some people want to see a new edition with Android 6.0 or Android 7.0, or just Android period. A full, basically, the software on the Priv, that people would love to see it on this phone. I'm kind of against that. I prefer BB10 on a BlackBerry. I just think that they should stick with their OS on their BlackBerries. That's a personal thing for me. But I'm going to do the after the hype right now for the BlackBerry Passport Silver Edition. So let's get into it. All right, so this phone today has a very tough battle when it comes to playing in today's smartphone game in the market right now. A lot of people look at a smartphone as like their go-to. They have to use it for everything, and they need their phone for that. And the Passport Silver Edition basically is just a new shell on the old Passport, and that's not something that's good or bad. It's not a right or wrong thing that they've done. I think it's actually a really great upgrade to the hardware opposed to the original OG. But if you have the OG, I wouldn't tell you to upgrade, because you're only upgrading just to get a different body, and you're gonna spend a lot of money just to get a different shell. So everything about this functions exactly the same as the original Passport. Now BlackBerry went on record saying, hey, we did some upgrades, we made this so the keyboard is better. I don't see any difference. So this phone has a 4.5-inch square display, and it's different, and that's what makes it good. The screen technically is 2K because the resolution is 453 pixels per inch for the techies out there, and it's a really sharp resolution. Now, but the fact that it's square, that might, let me see what phones I have by me. I've got my Axon right here. The Axon screen is the stereotypical smartphone. So getting used to this is going to be very difficult for a lot of people. But people can definitely pick up this phone and just run with it. So the screen itself, all I can tell you is that if you've never used the phone before, the closest you'll be able to get a demo is to head into an AT&T store, and then it has the same size screen, and the form factor is almost the same as this actually, but it's not the full metal like this one. But the screen is what I would advise you to go in and check out, and go to some of your favorite websites and just do some surfing on the screen and hold it. And I think you'll be really impressed. It'll only take you a few seconds to really get the feel of it. After you get over that shock and awe that it's a square screen and a wide phone, you'll see how good the screen actually really is. Now the phone packs a 13 megapixel camera on the back. Now this camera in today's market, it can handle a lot of stuff. I'm going to take a photo here. It takes a little bit of time to focus, but it can focus. And I'm just going to pop those photos up like I always do in some of the after the hype videos. The camera is decent. And the reason I have to say that at this point, it was a great camera at one point, but I've said it in other videos, when I compare it to other phones that I have, it just doesn't cut the edge. When you use the front camera, I guess it's like beauty mode, and it really smooths out everything, which is something that I don't like. But it takes great photos. If you haven't seen the video footage that I put up on this phone, I'll try to remember to put a link in the description of this video, but if I don't, just search for it on my channel and you will see it. But the cameras are good. They're decent. You know, they're not the best for sure. One thing about this phone, though, I will say, is I really enjoy that it shoots in 1080p at 60 frames per second, and that is the highest resolution that you get from this phone. You can, not that 4K is something that you need, because I don't use 4K anyway on a lot of my videos. I prefer 60 frames per second, just like this video, and nearly all of my videos, 99% of my videos are in 60 frames per second at 1080p or 720p. Either one of those are fantastic. But the cameras, you know, you're not probably getting this phone if you're a gamer or a person who is going to install a lot of applications that are just pointless. You're getting this phone because you need it for some kind of work. You're going to use the screen and the keyboard as your primary thing. And if you do take photos, it's just going to be to pop inside of a spreadsheet or something like that. And that, my friend, it does very well at. Now, the cameras, they're good. They'll work. But I wouldn't suggest that you buy this phone if you're just heavily into social media and and you're thinking that the cameras are going to do it for you. No. So it does have 3 gigs of RAM, and it has 32 gigs built in. Now it does operate on the 801 Snapdragon processor, so that's a tried and true processor, and it works well. I haven't had any problems with the phone crashing. And I give credit to that for BB10, because I think it's really, really solid, and that is why I don't want to have Android on my BlackBerry. You know, I just think BB10 should be an operating system that gets a lot of support, and it just doesn't for some reason. They're stopping everything. They've stopped Blend. This phone is over 2 years old technically, because the original Passport came out in June of 2004. We're now in 2016, heading towards the end of August. So this phone is technically really old, but it's still relevant, and a lot of people still have the Passport, and more particularly, a lot of people got the silver edition because of how great it was, and I'm super happy that I'm finally able to get it in 2016. Now it weighs in at 196 grams, but that's not really going to spoil it for you. That's not as bad as what you would think. Trust me, it feels better in the hand and lighter than an iPhone 6s Plus or an iPhone 6 Plus. Those are brick phones, if you don't know how bulky they are. They're tall and they're very heavy. But, you know, it's just one of those things. This is a wide, stubby, short phone, and it weighs 196 grams, but you really can't tell because they've really balanced this out really, really well. Again, it's a multi-touch screen, so you can do 10 figures, and, you know, it's possible. I haven't really tried that with the application, but another thing is gaming on this phone. I have done a gaming demo, but it does have the Snapdragon 801, but I don't suggest that you try heavy gaming on here. You know, very basic games, because it only has an Adreno 330, and that is not going to push out or even come close to current market. It's just not going to happen. So it can take an SD card, which is very nice. It can take up to 256 gigs. They've updated their website that it can take 256 gigs. Now the front camera on here, when I was talking on the cameras, let me jump back real fast, because this camera does have optical image stabilization on the rear, but the front camera it's a 2.8 aperture, and it only shoots in 720p, and it's a 2 megapixel. So again, don't think about buying this phone for the cameras alone. But the speakers, though, I will say, it has bottom firing speakers. Very, very, very nice bottom firing speakers. I could demo them for you, but you know, in this type of video, I've actually got a video up. I'll try to link it in the description of me demoing the speakers. You know, it was my 48 hours later video, I believe it is. The speakers are great. This phone packs a 3450 milliamp hour battery, and I gotta tell you, you're looking at least 2.5 days battery on this phone. If you can't get 2.5 days out of this phone, something's very wrong. It has NFC. You know, a lot of phones, if you think about the specs on here, it's got basically a 2K display. It's got NFC, an SD card slot, decent cameras. The processor is tried and true, and you get a different, unique body on here, and you get a full keyboard that is touch sensitive. Really good. So, I don't know. I think that's unique. That's what makes this phone unique. And I've put everything in folders there. I've got a lot of applications on there. But now let's get into daily tasks with this phone. Using this phone daily, it's actually very, very good. You know, it's going to be one of those things like, let me load up Twitter here, As you can see here, you get an extra wide view of Twitter. Now, I like that I can turn on the night mode. Let me turn on the night mode here. I normally keep it in the night mode, which is basically a dark theme. But I've been putting it in the I put it in the other version recently, but I love the dark theme on there. Now this isn't an AMOLED display. I wish it was. Oh boy, if they make another Passport 2, definitely make it at least an AMOLED. It doesn't have to be Super AMOLED, but at least make it AMOLED. That would be fantastic because this phone produces the blacks very well and colors are punchy and very dark. It's very, very nice. So day-to-day use, I mean, for social media, you get a lot of real estate there. And if I open up Twitter on another device here, you see the difference. I'm going to open up Twitter. This just happened to be the phone that I have right here by me. I'm going to open up Twitter here. And you can see the difference here. Let's go to the top here. You can see the difference in the two. You're getting the real estate is just a lot better on here. Now this isn't to compare it to the Axon because I love the Axon, but you just see the difference in the real estate. You get more on the screen as far as visually with this one, but you get more content on this one. So you see the three tweets there. You see T-Mobile, Tony Pazzo, and Poetic, right? You see that? Now on this phone, you only get T-Mobile and Tony Pazzo because on this phone it's going to display the picture, the link. It's going to give you a shortcut. Now that could be a good or a bad thing. There might be something in the settings in order to turn this on. So let me check real quick. Image previews is on. So yeah, it's just, I guess it's just the way the phone is set up for certain things. But this is the type of real estate that you're going to get. You're going to get a lot. And there's some pictures right there where it showed up. See, for some reason it's just not showing that T-Mobile one. But image previews are on. So yeah, and I love being able to, while I'm demoing that for you, I love being able to use the keyboard as a touch sensitive thing. It's like a mouse. It's super nice, very intuitive, and it's something that you'll really, really use. Now, you're probably saying, Jay, well, you got this phone, what are you really using it for? Really, I've edited spreadsheets on here, documents and things like that. You hear people say that, but you almost don't want to believe them. People probably don't believe that's true, but I have documents that are on here that I used and edited and everything right here on the device. You can see my docs to go. I can't show you the documents because they're confidential, but you can see I have a doc in there that I was recently working on, and just editing. Let me just open up. Let me create a new doc real quick. You get a full editing suite. It's ready to go on the phone, and it's nothing more than using this phone for editing documents and things. Like on my Android phone, I was having a problem opening something on one of my Android phones. It doesn't matter which phone it was. The point is, I couldn't open it, and then I went to my iOS phone and I couldn't open it. But when I got my BlackBerry out, all the files, this phone is basically for working, and their slogan is work wide. So I was able to do everything on this phone. Editing on this phone is just fantastic. You can double tap and you get a cursor there. Let's see if I can bring up the cursor. Yeah, you double tap and you see the cursor there. You can move it around. I don't have anything on this page, but you get a full editing suite with this. And when I say full, I mean you can really go full-fledged, like regular, like you're on a PC. This phone can do it. I've actually got a video up from years ago showing that you can use this phone as a PC. So, you kind of have to be the judge on whether or not you think you want to use a basic Android phone for that. And I know that Android, you can download different applications like Microsoft, and you got Google Sheets and stuff. It's just different when you're doing it on a screen that's this wide. It's just something about working on here, and it sounds crazy, but it's something about the work wide slogan that stands true, and it holds true, and it's really, really good. So primarily, this phone is used for working and documents and things like that. And but one thing I do want to touch on is the hub is probably one of the best features that the BlackBerry has. The hub, you've got everything in here. You see a lot of social media and stuff in there, but I got emails in there too. you can do everything in the hub. Let me see if I can go back here. Everything in the hub here, you've got all of your stuff there, all your emails, your social media, everything. Now, gestures on this phone, you can see certain things. Like if you want to peek at your messages, you can see all those messages I have without looking at them. So if I don't have anything open on the screen, and I just want to swipe up, you can see all those messages that I have waiting for me. So if I'm in another application, let's go into Instagram real quick. So if I'm in an application and I want to go into peek it, so I get a message pop up, I can just do like this, and I can swipe over like this way, and I can see exactly what it is, and I can say I don't want to mess with that, and I can go back. However, the BlackBerry Passport, not just the silver edition, it's just kind of one of those things that people say to this day, wow, that's a unique looking device. But it does have its drawbacks. Like I said, the cameras are not the best. This phone isn't going to be for everybody. The size of it is kind of awkward to the average consumer. But this screen right here for real estate, let me see if I can open up something real fast for you here. It's going to be one of the best experiences you can get as far as real estate on a phone. Let me see if I can go into something here. I want to show you. I'll give you a sneak peek of an upcoming video. Might already be out already. So, the speakers on the bottom of this thing are really good. The media consumption on here too, it could be better than what it is, but as you can see, as far as regular YouTube videos, you have to watch it with the bars on top at 16:9. And that could come across as a bad thing. It's kind of up to the user to decide. It really doesn't bother me. Like, let me play something for you here that I made. I was recording something. I was recording Usain Bolt. So look at how this video looks.
In the final.
Well, okay, let me disclaimer here. It looks like that because I'm holding it and I zoomed in. I could have zoomed in farther, but I just chose not to. But here's a different view. So you hit the button up top right here, and you can change the view. And see, so this is the video player.
Romel didn't really materialize. It was the grass who stayed closest to him. But at no point in this race did Usain Bolt look like he was ever concerned.
So you can see how good the media consumption could be. Now this video doesn't fill the screen, but you can fill the screen when you're watching video. So media consumption on here can be fantastic because this thing has some killer speakers on here. I mean, killer speakers. These are actually stereo speakers. There's 2 spots down there and they actually work. Now this phone does not have USB Type-C, but don't let that fool you. It's not a deal breaker. It actually charges really, really fast. Like from 0 to 100 is about an hour and a half or less. It doesn't have any kind of turbocharging or anything like that, but it actually charges really fast. I just pop it onto my Anchor or pop it into any USB charger that I have, 2.0, and it charges really, really fast. I was kind of surprised at that, how fast it actually does charge. So this is after the hype for this. I'm still hyped, not as hyped as I was when I initially got BlackBerry. Got the first Passport. The first Passport, I was super hyped, man. And you guys probably think I'm crazy, and I do this just because of video, but this is my favorite mug. Real talk. I always have it close by, sipping on it. But yeah, this phone, I'm still hyped about it because I'm using it for what I should be using it for. I use it for some media consumption, and you got a kind of a glimpse of the cameras there. I said they were decent. Well, the room was completely dark, and we were watching the Olympics, and I just kind of saw just to test it out. And I recorded it on my iPad Pro 9.7 as well. Now, obviously, it looks fantastic on the iPad Pro 9.7, but this looks really good for what this camera is bringing for a 2-year-old phone. So, yeah, that video kind of gives you an example of the sound quality from YouTube and then the sound quality from a video recorded directly on the phone. We still don't have a YouTube application for this one either. That's kind of sad, but it's just one of those things, man. But this phone definitely is something I'm still hyped about. Probably not as excited about it as I was 2 years ago whenever I first got the first one. But this is a keeper. I mean, this phone is so different. And, I would tell a lot of people, grab this phone when it goes on sale again. I initially got it for $315 or something like that, or 300. I told you guys a fire sale was coming a month ahead of time, and it came, and you should have jumped on it when you did. A lot of people did, but I would definitely tell people to grab this phone, not just because of the screen and the speakers, but the keyboard is so eclectic. Working on this phone with your documents and everything, I can guarantee you it will get it done for you. It's a very eclectic device, and I really appreciate BlackBerry at least making this one. So BlackBerry, if you're listening, I need you to make a Passport 2. I need you to keep this same keyboard, give me an AMOLED display, round off the body a little bit more. It doesn't have to be metal. Go ahead and extend the keyboard up. I'll take a 4-inch screen, 4x3, and you raise the keyboard up and give me a little bit bigger keyboard. I still make it touch sensitive. It can keep the same size and possibly make it a little bit narrower, and you will reach the masses. If you can still work wide with a screen that's cut down just a little bit. You can still work wide. This phone is phenomenal. And I hate to call it a phone, but it is a phone. And speaking of phones, it does do very well on T-Mobile's network and AT&T. No Verizon or Sprint or anything like that, but it will work on Cricket and other GSM providers. So this is a phone that I'm still going to recommend, man. I mean, I make these after the hype videos because I think that's what people should do. You see a lot of reviews out there where the people get the devices as a loaner and then they review it after a week or reviews or something like that, or 2 weeks, and then you don't see anything else from it again. So I try to do, that was the reason for me doing after the hype videos, because I want you to know if I'm still excited about it, would I still recommend it. And this is an older device internally, but the shell, like I said before, is the new shell. So if a person did not have a Passport yet, I've had all the Passports, the black, the red, the white, and the AT&T version. I would say get this one over all of those, because I've dropped this and it is just a tank. It has a metal body, like a metal chassis going down a beam down the center of the phone. And this one right here, as you can see, I'm not rocking a case. On my other ones, I bought cases. You don't need a case for this. This phone is that good. The grip on it is just right. The feel is very premium. The back up here is a little flimsy. The front camera is a little weak. But when you are using this front camera, here's where the front camera is very strong. BBM video, BBM meetings. This phone is very, very strong. The camera doesn't look like it's a 2 megapixel, and it doesn't look real grainy or anything either. It's actually really fantastic. So, I mean, can I recommend this phone still in 2016? Yes. And there will be, someone actually already put Android on this last year, like the full-blown Android, but it never took traction. That video is somewhere out there still. I'd have to look for it. But I would want BB10 on here. App support, I didn't touch on that very much because we already know how it is. The App World has the App World applications, and then they've teamed up with Amazon to bring you the Amazon apps. But really, I don't have a lot of unnecessary apps on here. So these games that are on here, a lot of those games, all of those games came from the App World, because a lot of the games, this phone only has a 330 Adreno in here, so it's not very good at gaming. I've demoed some games on a previous video, but the games that work well are the games that are less graphic intense, and that's just the reality. But I've got plenty of other devices to take care of that gaming need. And I don't know that I want to game on such a small phone all the time anyway. I've got my big boy, I got the Axon, This phone really shines with the screen, the keyboard, and the speakers, and the overall performance on here. It's not lacking at all. There's no problems with it, Sorry for a very lengthy video, but sometimes there's a lot to say about this. And I really hope that people watch the entire video, because don't look at it as I'm just sitting here talking just to talk and tell you about a phone. That there's good and bad in every device that I have. Some phones have more good than bad, or pros and cons, I should say. Some phones have more pros than others, and some have more cons than others. This phone is very well still balanced to compete in today's market. It just doesn't have what the world thinks is applications. And so I think BlackBerry did a, people always shoot me down for this, but I think they should have taken care of their original operating system and not ran and fled to Android just for applications. And I know that the stockholders control the way BlackBerry is run. For those that don't know, John Chen is not in control like what you think. He listens to what the stockholders say, and they said, "I want Android because we're losing people, we're losing money. Switch to Android." That's pretty much it. So he announced and followed what they told him to do. And the Priv is kind of a flop. Priv owners, don't be offended by that. I reviewed the Priv. It's just not that great to me. Keyboard is cramped. I think something like this, even the classic keyboard was cramped to me. I reviewed that too, and in my review I said it's no passport. But if the Priv was all touchscreen, it probably would have been better. It's still with the dual curve, make it thinner, and then just have a touchscreen. That would have been fantastic, probably. But not for the original price of $750. Not even for the current price of $550. Maybe $250 or $299 is the tops I would go for it. But I still wouldn't get it because it has some heating issues. Remember, I reviewed that already. But I think that BlackBerry should have stuck with BB10, paid the developers more, and got it done. And now they've got this D-Tech phone out that's just they took another phone and put their stuff on it and called it a BlackBerry. Like, they are really reaching right now. And people think some of the videos, people say, "Well, you're not no BlackBerry fan." They have no idea who I am about BlackBerry or how I feel about BlackBerry because they're just stopping by. Fact is, you guys know I'm still rocking with BlackBerry. It's just that I'm rocking with the OGs with BB10. So if you do have a BB10 device, I consider you an OG with me. And I'm not switching over to a BlackBerry with Android on it. It's just the way it goes down. So hope you guys enjoyed all the video. BlackBerry fans, I hope you watched the entire video. I'm still going to rock with you guys on BB10. I can't do this integrated thing with Android. I just can't do it because I have a ton of Android devices. And that's the way those are going to be. So I'm still hyped about the BlackBerry Silver Edition. This is a keeper. Where it falls short, there's other things that make it great. So it's your man Jay Will, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.